Okay, hello, good day. My name is Martin Rehon. Uh, this time I'm going to discuss to you a summarize or a summary about how to implement the exemption handling in your Java program. No? This is just only a summarize, so hindi ko na kailangan i-discuss lahat kasi medyo mahaba siya. But in this video, I'm going to show you how you will write and for you to understand how the exemption handling works in your Java program. So, before we get started, just want to share to you and also to your experience while running Java program. So, as you can see, when you executing a Java code, there are different error that can occur. Meaning to say, coding errors that made by the programmer or errors due to wrong input or other unforeseeable things. So when an error occurs, Java usually stop and generate an error message. The technical term for this is the Java will throw an exemption. So ano ba yung mga example ng mga exemption? By the way, as you can see in this ayan. So, example of exemptions, I have only two examples. So, first is the arithmetic exemption. So, arithmetic exemption, as you can see in the result view in Eclipse. I'm using the Eclipse as an IDE. The exemption in thread main, java.lang, arithmetic exemption, because this happened during there's an execution of the program where there's an operation that an integer was divided into 0. So, hindi po pwede yun. So, in example number 2, array out of bounds exemption. So, meaning to say, you are accessing some index that is out of bounds or it's either sobra dun sa array na dineclare mo. So, exemption handling. So first, what is an exemption? The exemption is an error thrown by a class or method reporting an error in operation. So as you can see in my first example is the dividing by 0, which is undefined in mathematics, and a calculation that can fail if this winds up being the case because of an error in user input. So exemption is an unwanted or unexpected event which occurs during the execution of your program. For example, during the runtime, that disrupts the normal flow of your program's instruction. So, exemption is an error. Actually, error that indicates serious problem that where reasonable application should not try to catch. So, exemption indicates condition that a reasonable application might try to catch. So, kung paghahaluin na natin, exemption handling. So, Java gives us an opportunity how to handle those exemption. Because, once that error was caught, usually if you don't use the exemption handling function, that's the end of your program. So, there's something you need to edit or you need to update on your code. But, in exemption handling function, you can actually manage once there's an error thrown using the try and catch, you have an alternative solution for that error. So para lang din siyang if condition. Okay? So using the exemption handling, okay, the catch or specify requirement. So the valid Java programming language code must honor the catch or in other words the specify requirement, but this time we just only focus on the catch. No? This means that a code that might throw certain exemptions must be enclosed by either of the following. First, you need to use the try to test. Okay? What is the try? Try statement that catches the exemption. The try must provide a handler for the exemption. Second, a method that specifies that it can be thrown the exemption the method must provide a throws clause that lists the exemption. So these are the common exemptions, okay, basic examples by using exemption handling, but this time we're just only using these two as a basic or example to you, arithmetic exemption and the array index out of bounds. But as you can see, there are lots of exceptions that you can use, no? So first is the arithmetic exemption. This is used or thrown if a program attempts to perform division by 0. So your program, there's an alternative solution once the user entered something that divides into 0. What would be the other solution once there's an operation that a number or an integer divided into 0? Same as to the second exemption, which is the array index out of bounds exemption, which is thrown in if a program attempts to access an index of an array that does not exist. So I believe we understand already what is an array, kung ano pasikot-sikot sa array. Okay, so here are the other exemption commonly used. Okay, so as I've said, no, catching would be the focus of our catching exemption. The Java language contains keywords used specifically for testing for handling exemptions. The ones we will be using here are try and catch. So again, try and catch. This will be our basic syntax we will be using for this example program, and they must be used in conjunction with one another. So here, as you can see, this is a basic syntax. Okay, again, first, before we implement this try and catch, we need to identify or to define first what will be the syntax of using try and catch. So first, the try. In the try clause, which contains open close curly brace, it contains the code to be tested. So any operation that you want to be tested first before it thrown to the catch. Okay, second is the catch, wherein with open and close parentheses and with the word exemption E. Okay, exemption is either, these are what we tackled, no, from the previous slides, which is common exemption class types. For example, you can write into that is the arithmetic exemption, the array out of bounds, etc. Now, in the catch clause, it contains code to be executed if instance of exemption is caught. So as you can see, this is an example, but I prefer to go to to our IDE, which is the Eclipse, for you to able to understand how it runs. Okay. Okay. So let's see. So in these examples, I have a basic code how it runs. Okay. So first, the arithmetic. Okay. So in this code, as you can see, in my public static void main, I have a 3 integer variable, okay, which is the a, b, and the div. Div is short for division. So a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 5. So I use the variable div to make an operation to divide the value of a to b. Okay. So as you can see, a, which is 5, and then b is 5. So 5 divide 5 is equal to, yes, we understand that is 1. So you can see the answer is 1. Okay. So the system that output print line printed the text, the answer is, and then the variable contains the answer of this operation, a divide b. But what if we divide the a into 0, or b, and then a? The b now, the value of b now is 0. So let's try. So once you run the program, okay, as you can see, exemption in the thread main, the arithmetic exemption. This is what I'm talking about. No, this is what I'm talking about. You divided an integer into 0, which is an exemption to the Java program because this is undefined. So once this caught by your IDE and you don't have a try and catch function, you need to adjust this code, no? You need to edit. But in exemption handling, using the try and catch, you can manage what will be the other way once if some aspect that your user performs this illegal operation. So, dyan na papasok si exemption handling. So, let's try this code. Try and catch. Okay. So, as you can see, in my example here, okay, in the try clause, inside of the try clause, it contains the code to be tested. So, here, the code to be tested is this operation actually. So, same variable, okay, integer a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 0, and then you have this variable div wherein you store a value once this operation, okay, executed, no? So, a divide b. So, let's try again. Okay. So, this how it works, no? The try per line. So, this is true. This is correct. Okay, in the second line, a divide b, which is a is 5. B is equal to 5. So, the operation is you are dividing the 5 into 5. Okay, this is exemption. No, because you are dividing it into 5, which is the answer is 1. So, the one value will be stored on the div variable, and that's the time it will be printed using the system.out.println. The answer is, and then the div. So once you run the program, the answer is 1. So there's no exemption happen because there's no operation that you divide the number into a 0. So let's try to change this into 0. As you can see in earlier example, we don't have the try and catch. See how it automatically appear in our result window here. So let's see. The interpreter, our compiler will interpret line per line our code. So as you can see, once you run the program, it is error because you divide it to 0. Why? So let's see. Try. This try clause is where all the codes must be tested. So let's test. So this is, there's nothing wrong about this, but in this operation, as you can see, a, the value of a is 5. The value of b is 0. So 5 divides 0. So once there's an error caught by this try, inside of the try, okay, this whole operation will be disrupt, or it will be stopped. So it will not proceed to the system.out.println, but rather this exemption will be thrown into the catch. It will be thrown to the catch, and then it will display it is error because you divide it to 0. So as you can see, I want you to see the advantage of using this try and catch is even there's an error or there's an exemption happen, you can still manage or handle what will be the next step you want to do if this happen. Okay, you can write lots and lots of code here, lots of instruction once this exemption error happened, and then it will be thrown to the catch. So this is just only an example, no? An example wherein you can see it catch to the exemption here, and then it will display here. But so you can see, you can write lots of or many statement here inside of the catch clause. Another solution. Okay. You can see it displayed the another solution. Now, let's proceed to the example number 2. Okay, in example number 2, so you can see, I have an array. I declare an array which is a variable of a is equal to new int, and the size of my array is 11. Okay, or let's say the size of my array is 10. Okay, so at the index of 11, as you can see here, no, I want to insert a value of 9 into my variable a, which is a data type of array, into an index of 11. So first, as you can see, the size of our array is 10. So I have here, so sorry for the drawing. So let's see. So if we have this size of 10, this will be our array, no? Because indexes in an array always starts at 0. So 0, so as you can see, 10 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But in index, it's always starts at 0 and will end the index of 9. So once you want to insert or to store an integer value at the index of 11, is there an index 11 here? No. So as you can see, it will not proceed, and then once you run the program, exemption, because array index out of bounds exemption. Unless you will change this to 8. Once you run the program. I'm sorry. We must change this 5. Okay. So let's, okay, the value of the index, sorry, the index of 5 is 9. Okay. Because it is not out of bounds. The index of 5, it will be store 9 here. But so you can see, if we proceed to index 11, once you run this, it will not proceed to the system.out.print. But here, as an exemption, the array index out of bounds because there's no index of 11. So if you don't have a try and catch function, also, it's like I've said in the previous example, you need to adjust this code, but there's another way. If you use the try and catch, you can handle properly, or what would be the other solution if this exemption happen. So let's try. Let's now use the try and catch function. So same, okay. So as you can see, so first again, in the try clause, all of my operations, okay. My major operation here is this. You are inserting a value or in an index of an array, which is out of bounds. So when you run this program, array index out of bounds. So as you can see, line per line, okay, if your compiler proceed to this operation, this is error. This is an exemption. So it will be now thrown into the catch, and in this catch, you will be using the array index out of bounds exemption. Okay, as you can see in this, because array index out of bounds exemption thrown into program attempts to access an index of an array that does not exist. So the index 11 does not exist because the size of your array is just only 10. Okay? So as you can see, once the exemption here was caught, it will not I want you to understand, it will not proceed to the next statement in the try catch, whatever how long your statement here, but it will be stopped here and then throw it into the catch clause. Okay, so this is the overall the summary how you implement a try and catch function in your Java program. Now, so I hope it's clear and understandable. So God bless.